welcome back to A Community for All of Us. This is episode 3, and I've got two guys that's going to help me out tonight. And the talk, we're going to be Billy, which is right over here, and then Harold, which is right down below. You know, Billy, if you know the Forge, you definitely have. If you haven't checked out the Forge, check it out. Absolutely love him and Jimmy and what they're doing. And because of them, it kind of gave me a kick in my butt to actually get back doing these things. So, hey guys, how are y'all doing tonight?
I'll let Harold say hi first, and then I'm going to jump on
Oh, yeah.
in.
And Harold, and also those of you, quick thing, sorry, Harold. Quick thing with his, I got both guys link in the description down below. A lot of you were asking, and I think some of y'all finally did go over and subscribe to his channel. But it is Cowboy Vampire 1.
Vampire
And
Cowboy 1.
there you go. So that is his channel, and I do have a link again as I was sharing it with some other people. So, and you just had a milestone, so go ahead. I'm gonna let you take it.
Yes, sir. I reached, I think it was, 100 subscribers? Over 100?
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I do want to say thank you for having me on tonight. It is an honor to be back at A Community for All of Us because you gave me my first live stream experience ever. So I'm really happy to be here and be a part of this tonight. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Y'all are actually helping me get my butt out of a sling tonight. Life happens, things come rolling. You have to kind of roll with them and bounce. And I have learned, as with a big boy like me, I bounce really well if I fall down, but trying to get the motivation. But yes, I appreciate it. So, guys, tonight's topic is dealing with crossovers. And we're going to look at some things about crossovers. But before we do, I kind of want your idea. We can talk about where it's crossovers with comics, crossovers with toys, crossovers, and any other types that you love, where whatever it may be. How you feel about a crossover, and what draws you to that crossover. So, Harold, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I personally like crossovers myself. I mean, who hasn't done a crossover like when you're little and playing with toys and stuff? Uh, Masters of the Universe against like the Thundercats or whatever, or Transformers against, I don't know, Godzilla or whatever. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. What
But
about you, Billy?
oh,
So I personally love the idea of crossovers, just so long as they're executed properly.
yes,
It's
Yes.
all about the execution for me. I feel like the Jurassic Park Transformers crossovers are an epic failure. I don't like how they pan
that
out.
just doesn't go together.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. Whereas other lines like Masters of the Universe does like WWE crossovers and they're fun as hell. So
Yes.
I feel like you have to know your audience and what you're looking for. I do appreciate that like the Transformer Jurassic Park crossovers are new characters, but I feel like they almost take it too literally when they do the crossover, like that Jurassic Park Explorer, having the cowboy hat and things like that. It just didn't sit right for me as a Transformer. That's more like Rescue Bots designs. If you're going to do an adult Transformer, let's give it an adult look. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Like, kind of
That's
like what
amazing.
kind of like what you were talking about. As I'm trying to pull it up at the moment, my brain. Why is it doing? I'm telling you, I know how to mess things up. I touch something, and I'm notorious.
That's all right. So
There we go.
there's the Jurassic Park crossover right there. Like that doesn't work for me at all. I love Dilophosaurus. I love the Jurassic Park Jeep. Like these are things I love, but they don't mesh for me. They're both way too non-cohesive. They're kind of all over the place, and that's got to be the biggest Barbasol can in the history of the world.
I have to agree, especially when it came from the Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park.
I do too.
Yes.
World, huge dinosaur, and fan of dinosaurs. And for me, this an easy pass when it came out. It just for me, this is something, and that's why I pulled this slot up instead of the one that you got with Back to the Future or the one you got with um
Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, which
Yep.
I own both of those,
I
and they're
think those are great. I think those were handled beautifully.
but this one right here, I have to agree with Billy. What do you think, Harold? Do you think is this something that would be up your alley that you would like? Hey, this looks like something I would pick up off the shelf, or an easy pass? Because for me, the aesthetics, it just doesn't work at all. It's real campy to me.
Transformers and Jurassic Park just does not go together. It just doesn't.
I agree.
Yeah.
And especially like look at that Jeep. Like you've got the hound mold. I don't know if that's improperly transformed, but the gut of that Jeep is just horrendous. Um, the Dilophosaurus head sticking out in the middle of the chest with the tail kind of dangling there like a big ball sack. Like it just, that South Park episode where they're bouncing on the ball sacks. Like that's
Yes,
what I see there. So it doesn't work. But as you brought up, the Gigawatt is fantastic.
yep,
Kit is fantastic. The second they announce an Airwolf crossover, I'm in. I'll buy 2 of that.
exactly.
Like it can work. It's just the
Yeah,
execution of the Jurassic Park line. It did not work for me.
yeah, and the thing too is that my wife always, I guess, with Transformers, I always have a penis joke that goes with it, and that does look like you got a big old dong ready to poke somebody's eye out with him if you transform him wrong. And the sad thing is, I actually saw someone do a review, and they kind of talked about this because I own the Hound mold, and it is technically mistransformed. They are actually supposed to fold behind him, but the instructions only for Jurassic Park line was for you to put it up front to make it look different. And I think it looks horrible.
No, it looks terrible. And I like the color scheme. It reminds me of that Gen 1. I think his name was Landfill
Yes.
from the late 80s. That he was that tan and like maroon dump truck. And I get such a good vibe from that. But I don't know. This isn't for me.
And the helmet. The helmet was another thing that was a big
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
no
Those
no
head
for me.
sculpts are atrocious.
Yeah. Um, so with that though, I want to bring up this one though, as a person that's in anime and I love manga.
Oh
For
man.
me, I'm a big Naruto and Baruto fan. This was easy for me to pick up because of the fact that when you put Naruto into the fox mode, it actually looks like a nine-tailed fox. And also the frog. So this one actually worked, and you feel like, and if you know anything about Naruto, you do know that sometimes they do have big robots that kind of look like the characters that appear. So this one here kind of felt like they were taking homage from the actual anime, which worked for me. Um, but I understood from a lot of people it was a miss. I mean, did I know you don't typically you stick with third party, Billy, but did you ever your daughter or anybody look at this and say,
So if
hey,
if it was a Miku crossover, my daughter would have been all over it. We're not a Nataru house or however you pronounce that. I'm sorry. I love that you've got Spitor. I think that was the little frog guy. They work. Their designs are better. They're more cohesive. You can understand even in robot mode what they're going to turn into, and it's just a really good design. As a Transformers fan, if I was who I was 10 years ago, I would have bought this simply because there's a lot of great engineering there. They look good. Me today, that's a pass. It's an easy pass. But I appreciate this far more than the Jurassic Park line.
yes. What about you, Harold? What do you think? I don't know. Are you typically in your collection? Do you have a lot of anything that's anime?
Yeah, I actually do have a few things anime. Let's show you guys these.
Oh, I think we lost you.
Oh, he's showing us his collection. Godzilla, Ultraman, Megazords,
Oh wow, yeah.
boobs.
Let me see if I can make your stream bigger. Oh, I
Yep.
did the wrong
I
thing.
think he got rid of his screen.
There we go.
But yeah,
Nice.
Okay. So you do. So would that have been something that you would have looked at as something that you would have got for your collection, or not?
it is interesting. Like something that I would have probably gotten for my collection. But yeah,
Okay.
I I do
So
think
for
it's
me,
a pretty cool piece. Sorry.
no. Go ahead.
No, I was
I
just
mean,
saying.
it's
I
lagging.
think it was a. Oh,
There we go. I got it fixed. Sorry. Go ahead here. I apologize. My computer
no, you're
apparently
good.
the madhouse I've been in. Apparently, my surge protector just died on me, so I had to
Oh no,
Oh,
plug up my computer real quick. So
that's
go ahead.
that's not good.
I know I got it fixed though. Giant's butt.
but
There we
yeah, I
go.
was just saying that was a cool piece, if nothing else. I mean,
Now, something I think that maybe we all three will agree on going forward dealing with Hasbro and crossovers will be the Hot Wheels Transformers crossover. Um, for me, let's go ahead. I want to first of all, Harold, I want you to go first. Are you into anything like Hot Wheels? I know you do a lot of robots and you do a lot of robots with sounds, but did you ever get Hot Wheels as a kid?
I did get a few Hot Wheels as a kid. I tried to get into it, but it just wasn't. It wasn't something I was real crazy about as a kid, as much as like
So this
Star
is
Wars or Star Trek or anything like that.
oh well, talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. You know, Star Wars had a crossover a long time ago. They used to do the Mandalorian, or wait, it was Anakin would transform into like a TIE fighter or something like that. This is kind
Well,
of
that's
along the
cool.
lines of having more of original
Yeah.
um, pieces of crossover. For me, before I say my piece, I want to know what Billy thinks
I love
about
it.
these.
Simple. I love it. I think Hot Wheels and Transformers is the best crossover they could do. If they make these affordable, you've got limitless possibilities here. Limitless. And I think they executed it right. I think the robots look good. They're clean. They feel Hot Wheels. They feel Transformers. You've got a perfect little blend in my mind.
Yeah, I have to agree, especially when you take a look at the way they look and the fact that they are going to have diecast with them, and apparently they are going to be the size of Hot Wheels, which
Oh,
I was,
okay.
yeah, I was very surprised to hear about that. And they will have some blast effects that will go with them.
Oh man.
And so like flames coming out of them, which I thought was really cool. Um, and having it in the smaller scale is also to help bring the cost kind of down. And
So
what I
these looked bigger than a Hot Wheels to me, though. In that picture, that car, which I have like 6 different paint variations of that car, because my son
what
loves Hot Wheels. Um, they look a little bigger to me. Now I hope they are Hot Wheels scaled because then I can use them on the tracks. Like I can imagine the playability here with my son with this.
Yeah, I that's what I was thinking. I was a little bit like, how is it going to work? But at the same time, you know, it looks like there's a lot of engineering and complete new molds.
Yes.
Um, that's what was surprising to me. And this is actually on Hasbro's side, with Mattel, kind of like Mattel did theirs in their Hot Wheel line. This is going to be Hasbro's take on their line in robots. So for me, I'm all in as long as, like Billy said, the price is good. The price has to be right. Like Bob Barker always said.
I mean,
It
I
can't be.
understand if they charge $20
Well,
for a
yeah,
Hot Wheels size car that
yeah,
transforms. I do get it. I understand the engineering that's going in, and I get it. Like, I'm not expecting like $1.50 Hot Wheels price. I know what's going into it, but if I find out these are like $50 a piece, I may pick them up in the aftermarket after people have already had their fun with that dopamine rush from the first moments with it, and just get it on a lower price.
that's how I feel. What about you? Now, is this in the line of robots that you would be interested in?
Uh, Probably not as far as as far as I'd go, but that's just me. I mean, it is cool though. I mean, like everybody knows I mostly like the robots that are you know all the noises and moving around and all that, and radio controls and stuff.
So,
Well, that's
yeah,
fun. That's fun stuff right there.
it is. I mean, take a look at his collection. Is like, as a kid, if you're a parent, you don't want your kid to have too much loud, noisy toys. But it's like you go to his house and it's like everything can make a noise, and it's like, what button can I push, and go from there.
It, it
That's
it's like the house from the first Gremlins movie, where he's
yes,
got the toys flaring with when all the Mogwai are born, and they're all playing with the robots with the sounds and all that.
oh yes, all
That's
the
what I'm
lights got
envisioning.
yes, lights flashing, everything going. Yeah, that would be Harold's his place right there in a nutshell. Plus, he
That's fun.
also fixes his,
Yeah, you
which
were saying that.
yeah. Um, so with the crossover though, crossover has to hit a sweet spot for it to work. Do y'all agree with that?
Couldn't agree more. It has to a crossover to me has got to be a perfect blend. Like, I need to feel each. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess each IP I need to feel in hand. Like, I need to feel it. Like this Thundercats Masters of the Universe that you just pulled up. That hits it, man. That Lion-O, that Mumra or Skelara, whatever, they all hit the right cues, man. Like, it's Skeletor where it needs to be, but you can feel where Mumra is in the design. Like that is just awesome. The Battle Cat, man, is so original. You know, it's really cool.
It,
Yes.
and the playability, which I kind of was looking into this, because the only way you could get anything that was Thundercats for a while was from Super 7. And I have an issue with something costing 60, $70, and you don't get anything that's really going to be with the price point just doesn't match up for it to be a 6, 7 inch figure to have it be that much. So it was for me for Thundercats was an easy pass. And like Billy has said, with certain things, if it's too expensive, you just wait till the shine rubs off, and then somebody's going to sell it on eBay or something like that for a lot cheaper. And that's how I ended up getting my Silverhawks. But for me,
Nice.
this is an absolute must. And the fact is that they're going to be about $20 a figure. The Skeletor and the Mumra, are going to have where you can switch out the heads and switch out the capes, and it can be either Mumra or you can have it Skeletor. But with a price point being around $20, if you really wanted to, you could buy two of the same figure and have it Skeletor, have it Mumra, and this is only wave one. I was trying to get to be able to have it first here on the channel, but I couldn't have anybody bite or let me share the images of the second wave because it's yet to be announced about the second wave. But there are characters that's coming out for the second wave where you will have Beastman and you will have they're going to
Moss
use kind of
Man.
the same. What's that?
Will we get Moss Man too?
There is in the works for a Moss Man. There's a works of like Monkey Man. I guess it's from Thundercats and then
Fisto.
Side. Yeah, and they're working on doing like even a little miniature comic that will be in the figures themselves.
That'd be great, like the old Kenner Alien line.
Yes,
So
and so
my
if you,
question is, how are they going to do the kids? Like, is that going to be a 2-pack with those two? You know what I'm talking about? The kids that
yes,
from Thundercats?
the two, yeah, Wally Kid and Wally Cat.
Yeah, would
Yes,
they
that
be
would be
like a 2-pack?
with
And do you think they're going to man up Snarf?
yes, you do have a Snarf.
Like I'm saying, do you think they're going to pull like Battle
I
Cat Man with him?
I do. I can say yes.
That'd
Yes.
be fun.
So yeah,
But I
I
can see the
was
fun in this. That's all I'm saying.
the playability. I mean, I got to see the accessories that's coming with these guys, and they are out of the yin yang. I mean, you've got He-Man, you got he's gonna have like this long hair mullet like you see here in the image, but they're all gonna have so much playability. You're gonna have Chitara, which they're gonna kind of use the same mold that they did with this Tila, but it's just gonna have Chitara's head eventually. And that's how they're working around it because with the Ninja Turtles that they did, you had it that it's now on like I think it's 11th wave.
Yeah, the Ninja
Almost.
Turtles has just been insane what they've put out.
Yeah. And you know, Warner Brothers is wanting to get more of their IPs out there. And Warner Brothers is the one that owns the IP for Thundercats. And they also own the IP for Silverhawks and Captain Planet. And so they're pumping out these comic books, and Mattel's going, we really kind of, need to reach out and see if we can, do a crossover and maybe not have a Thundercats line, but put He-Man, and it will go to the people that are He-Man fans because it's under that Origins mock-up to this right here. To me, this is gold if it works. If it,
That's wonderful. Mattel's been doing really, really good recently. Like they've been kind of winning me over as a toy producer, especially over Hasbro. I feel like Mattel's been making the right choices. Their price points have been fair for what they're offering. And I haven't walked away as disappointed as I have with some Hasbro offerings as of late. So
yeah, yeah, I
now I
have to
do hope
agree
they
with you.
kind of, and it's not technically a crossover, but in a sense, I guess it would. Since Mattel has the Dino Riders license, right? They own the rights to Dino Riders. I just wish they would use the current Jurassic Park World figures to bring that back, especially
Which
knowing
is
that
nice.
like the Hammond collection, I believe, scales with 3 3/4 inch figures. So they
Hmm.
could use those molds and then give us 3 3/4 inch riders. I think it would be pretty amazing, you know? And I guess that could kind of be a crossover because it's all those Jurassic Park molds. I don't know. But
It would be nice. It would be nice because I think that's just, that's like it would just make sense. But then again, it depends on who owns the copyright of those molds. Something
yeah,
that, yeah, something that I
is
was
Universal willing to share the design or molding with whomever owns the rights to the Dino Riders shows. Like if that's a Warner Brothers product or a Amblin product or whomever, you know, I don't know who it is.
And see, and the
But
great thing that Mattel came out and said is that they are pricing these to match with the tariffs.
these figures here.
Yes.
Okay.
So the price point that I said, that is for that. So you're not going to all of a sudden be surprised, that the price is going to go up any higher. It's not. This is how what they said. It's been like their golden goose, so to speak, and it's been
Yeah.
selling really well. I mean, I did not realize, and I want your thoughts on this too, Harold, is the fact that I didn't know this till recently, is that I thought that the Masters of the Universe line was barely selling. Because you go to the store and you do see a lot, especially you go to Target, you do see a lot of Mattel He-Man figures sitting on the shelf. Um, but what they did is that they did it where they focused on online first before the stores. So the stores are the ones that are getting kind of like what's left over, but Amazon and Entertainment, Earth
Earth.
Entertainment, I think it is, and
Yep.
some others
Entertainment Earth.
are, yeah, have been able to have the He-Man line being the ones to be the first dibs to be able to have those when they come out, and that's helped with the price. Um, is this something that now if I had Harold, it's like for this, would this be something that you would go, that might be something I'd look at?
Probably.
Okay. Like with it though, what part of this like stands out to you to go, all right, it would it be the characters or the price? Would you be more enticed to look at?
Uh, of course, being disabled, the price always plays a factor. Unless you get it on a firm, then But
Okay.
yeah.
So, but yeah, with that, I look at this and I'm going, all right, Mattel, you're doing something right. You're doing something that's getting the audience. You're now taking Ninja Turtles, which everybody would first in you talk about a niche group. The He-Man Masters of the Universe guys is a niche group, but they're also a very loyal group. I mean, they are very, very loyal. And Mattel has been like, we can't keep doing Barbies. We're losing our businesses. We're closing down more plants. And I feel like Mattel is the company, in my eyes, that's listening to their fans, coming out and saying, hey, what could we do to keep you coming back and buying the same He-Man, buying the same Skeletor? Because in the long run, that's what us Transformer fans talk about all the time, is that we feel like, okay, we're just bored with it always being the core,
Same
you
thing.
know.
Like just like how that new masterpiece is another Optimus Prime. Meanwhile, they haven't given us Jazz. They haven't given us Cliff Jumper. Like, really, you need another Prime? I'm done.
Yeah.
This is great though. Like the kid in me loves it and would want every figure. Because like what kid didn't love He-Man? We were
No.
growing up and He-Man was on everything.
Oh yeah, the power.
Yeah. And the
Yes.
sword, like everything about it. And then Thundercats, I would play Thundercats like constantly outside. If I found a cool stick, like I was thunder, thunder,
Yes.
thunder. Like I was doing it. So this is, if you're gonna do a crossover, I feel like this is one of the best you can possibly do.
And the other thing too with the comic book, the fact that it's ingenious that they're making the comic books original, and to make sure that they don't have to worry about a translation issue, it's going to be silent issues. There's no word bubbles. They're
Okay.
telling the story with the art.
I
So
love
that
that.
yeah, so right there you're seeing, okay, so a kid in Mexico gets all this thing, he's going to understand the story.
Yep.
I kind of ran into my old football coach when I was in the midget league. I ran into him the other day, and he had his own comic store when I got, and that's what got me into comics. And that was something him and I were talking about. It's like at this time, right now, this is the greatest opportunity to, with movies and cartoons, to have it where things are blowing up. And I think that Mattel is looking at it and going, all right, let's see how many IPs we can get hold of and do it. Because I mean, you got Ninja Turtles being done by Super 7. It's also being done by
Playmates.
uh yeah, Playmates. I was thinking it
Oh,
was,
I
is it
also
NECA?
there's some overseas people doing them too. The
Yes.
turtles. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of turtles merch right now. You know.
Yeah. It's like it's everywhere. You're absolutely right. And it's like, but Mattel is the one that made it where it's getting the most traction and the most talk. More people are talking about, have you seen the combination of He-Man being covered with the ooze and he's all bright and purple? Have you seen Too Bad actually being Bebop and Rocksteady merged together? I
Yeah.
mean, they're coming out with original ideas.
No, which
And
is great. And like these, even these, they're retro looking, but they're modernized. Like it's a good blend of the retro and the modern where you know what characters they are, but you can appreciate the new take, and it allows you to separate yourself from that. I grew up with these characters. This is what they should look like. To all right, here's a fresh take. Let's see what you got. And I can
yes,
appreciate and respect that. And if that's what Mattel is going to be doing with all of their lines, I think they're going to hit a home run every time.
now the other thing that I wasn't, and I'm going to go ahead and take this down, but the thing that I wanted us to talk about on the second part of the show is kind of like show those off. But the fact is that we're in a time in which a lot of people are terrified by tariffs. They're terrified by how much money's going to go up. A lot of companies are having to reassess. And I think that companies, especially toy companies, are going to have to go, all right, I have to be able to grab an audience. I got to be able to grab a kid and an adult and give them something that they both want to purchase. And my problem that I'm seeing is that there's not enough of this going around. I see that Hasbro had all these IPs that they own, and instead of doing something along this line, they're now like letting them go. But you could have easily had a mask crossover with Hasbro Transformers or anything like
A
that.
mask Transformers crossover would have been so cool, and they could have really gone like wild with it because you don't just have to make the truck be Optimus Prime. Like you could say, you know what, this is going to be Motormaster or whatever. Like you could totally go any way you want with that, and I think they would sell no matter what. Um, like that helicopter motorcycle thing would have, I'm sure they probably would just like, look, this is RC now. And,
Yeah.
you give it a little bit of blue hint, like they do the Transformers Prime color scheme with that, along
Hmm.
with the Prime like head shape, and people would totally be into that. You could cross over that really well. But I think Hasbro just was too focused on their change of leadership. I don't think they're doing it right. And then when you talk tariffs, we're going to be feeling the effects of these tariffs for a year and a half, 2 years before there's any change, is kind of what I'm feeling. But I can almost see the toy companies doing what occurred back in I'm going to say like '08 to 2012, give or take, where like the Marvel figures went from being the 6-inch figures to the 3 3/4. Like the companies kind of downsized and they changed. Like Transformers became simpler. You know, they made them still affordable, but they cut back in other ways. You know, and
Right.
honestly, me, I preferred the 3 3/4 inch Marvel figures to the 6 inch.
Yes.
I just thought it was cool. Like they scaled with my Joes, they scaled with more play sets. There was a lot more you could do with that smaller scale. So with the tariffs, I'm hoping the companies do, the right thing and consider the fans and how are we going to spend money. I mean, Mattel keeping the Masters of the Universe figures with Thundercats at an affordable price and just by recycling bodies like they did in the 80s, that
Yeah.
works for me. I'm cool with that. As long as I have a knee bend, an arm, an elbow bend, and some rotation at the shoulders, I think, hips and waist, it doesn't have to be 30 points of articulation. As long as they
No.
can stand their ground, I'm fine. Ankle pivot, bending knees, working hips, we're fine. Die swivel I'd love, but it doesn't have to happen. They could mix retro with today and still make it work.
Yeah.
As I
I
ramble.
no, no, no. You hit every point that I agree completely. You hit every point that I was going to say is that m- my problem is like right now. My second love has always been GI Joe, and that goes because I come from a military family, and so my dad would play GI Joes with me, but I have in the house that we have and Transformer collection I have, it just wasn't cost efficient for me to have a 6-inch figure for all of them. They were just too big. Um, Super Sevens come out with the 3 3/4 with the O rings. Yeah, you're looking at about $20 a pop. But for me, it's the nostalgia, and it's also got me where I'm noticing that they're doing crossovers with the O rings. They're going to be doing one with um oh gosh, Rome, the Space Knight, and you're also got the Micronauts. And so I'm like, okay, that at least that's showing that they're taking the retro line and going, okay, instead of just giving you arms that go like a robot up and down the legs, the same. Those GI Joes were easy pass for me because they didn't have enough. I want a knee bend and elbow bend, and like you said, shoulders. And for me, it was like, okay, I can get into buying this 3 3/4 GI Joe, and okay, I'm paying $20. It's gonna fit on my shelf. It's gonna fit next to my older GI Joes. And that's the thing that I look at Mattel is that they actually are making the He-Man figures where they actually match up to your old He-Man figures.
Yes.
They scale the same. They have
I loved the He-Man bring like that the recent ones of the old characters in the old scale, but now they're posable.
yeah,
We've got Skeletor, He-Man, and Battle Cat, and they are all fantastic. Love them.
and their arms can change out like you could do as a kid. The
My
arms
son
can
does
come
that
out.
all the time. Like
I love it.
Skeletor is like part He-Man, part Skeletor, and he
Yeah.
loves it. It's good. Like what they've done, I really do. Like I said a little earlier, I applaud them for it. There's other companies that do crossovers as well, though. My daughter collects the Monster High figures, and
Okay.
they've been crossing over into pop culture. So I think they've got a Monster High Squid Games doll coming out, and it's the red light, green light doll, but in
Oh,
this
that's cool.
Monster High. So,
Oh,
like, there's companies out there that are doing it fun and right. Not many are failing, but the crossovers could be what saves some companies. If they do the right crossovers, and as Mattel's doing, it's simple enough where they can reuse and reuse. It'll keep them through this recession or whatever we're in. Um, rocking and rolling. I think Mattel's not going to take as hard of a hit as Hasbro is, who's kind of sticking with their guns and focusing on games, Transformers, and GI Joe, and that's it.
and do you have anything you want to say, Harold?
Uh, Not really.
Okay. The thing that I also was going to say is that with Hasbro though, Hasbro's doing the opposite, which this kind of really bothers me. Is that Hasbro is saying, okay, for future things dealing with Marvel, we're going to come out with you having to buy a $40-$50 figure now. That to me makes no sense. That makes no sense that you're charging that amount of money and saying, oh, these are more stylized. This is more of our better figures.
Like
And
that
I'm like,
Spider-Man 3. Did you
yeah,
see that?
yeah,
Emo
with the
Peter
Venom.
Parker's $50.
Yeah,
Like,
that that makes no sense to me.
no.
That's you
Like I
know,
understood that the Goblin was $40, but you got the Goblin, you got the Goblin glider, you got a stand, you got alternate heads, you got, you know, it, it was worth the 44 bucks, in
yes.
my mind.
Well, you're getting more bang for your buck. But the thing that gets me is that uh, I didn't have time to videotape it. I wish I did, but I went by Walmart and I just wanted to take a look at the toy out in its whole. And I noticed that you had Walmart has a robot that looks like Optimus Prime, except he's, got just blue arms and blue legs and they had a copper chest. But he also made noises and spoke. And he was $10 compared to Hasbro that doesn't do that, that is going for $40, $35. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that for Mattel to come out with a vehicle for around 20 to $30 for a vehicle, but yet you want to get a vehicle for Star Wars or for the Avengers, that's right there, $40 figure. With and you're going to get a little to me that makes no sense. And
None.
I think in this I think we're going to see like a toy recession. I did buy the Optimus Primal, which was the mashups or the mix
How
mashers.
is that? I want to pick those up for my son. Is it
Uh,
good?
it it's good, and for the price point being around $10, it's good. You're not going to have anything in the shoulders except it doing like up and down, but the arms you can get and coming apart and going back together and holding the pose, it's really really good for
All right, cool.
so I was very surprised and I was like, okay, if Hasbro does this, this will make sense, and maybe using this line, they're going to use it where it does crossover. I had images for it, but I didn't get to put them all together today. But there's the crossover where you're going to have Star Wars, Marvel characters, and Hasbro characters, and they're going to all be in this mixed mashers line. And they've already got little pictures where it shows how they all cross over. And I thought that that was ingenious to do it that way. That's one way the family can go, and if they want to buy a birthday gift, and let's like with my nieces, if they were invited to a birthday party and they weren't that good of a friend with the person they were invited to, they typically we always take a gift, but you're not going to buy the most expensive gift. You're going to buy one that's not so expensive, but you wanted them to be able to recognize it. But they were real good friends. Yeah, you're going to go with a more pricey figure. I think Hasbro was smart with this because you're giving them a $10 price point and you're giving them characters that they can see as a cartoon, they can see on the shelf and in the movies. And this right here, that's smart from Hasbro. And I think we may be seeing a crossover of retro figures like McFarlane coming out more with what's the Super Friends,
Yeah, McFarlane's got the Super Friends.
and they're going to come out with more vehicles. And he's even talked about taking the mold and taking it to other properties that he owns, the licensings that he owns.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be smart. I think at this time more companies are either going to have to work together or they're not going to make it. I really feel strongly about that. Um, I think for Hasbro, they've clearly made the statement that Transformers they're keeping and the classified GI Joe they're keeping.
Yep.
But with anything else, not so much. You know, they're not going to be putting the money into. And what I'm trying to go at, I know I'm rambling. I apologize. But with the Mixed Masters, I found out that these molds had come out years ago, and these are the same molds that match up to that. So I think
Oh,
that's going to be smart on their
that's
end.
cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool. Yeah,
the
I didn't
whole
know they were $10. I'll have to pick a few up for my son. He saw the commercial and was like freaking out because like first I think they did the Marvel characters, and then a little
yep,
while later one for the Transformers. Like he's like, Dad, they got Marvel for me. They got Transformers for you. We can switch them up. So that's a cool way of doing a crossover, as it's your crossover episode.
yeah,
You can. It's not an official crossover, but you get a 6-year-old with all those figures. Damn well you're going to see a Megatron with Doctor Doom's head running
yes.
around. And I think it's pretty rad. And Transformers and Marvel, they go back all the way to the '80s comics. I mean, who didn't love seeing Black Spider-Man fighting Megatron in issue
I
2?
know.
Like, come on.
Yes, or and that's the thing too is that and I've said this, and I know that you've said this. Um, Toys have to get back to kids.
Yes.
They have to. Um, and I think that for so long they were focusing on the adult collector. They forgot the kids. They left them behind. And now they've realized, wait a second, we have an audience that's going to die. I mean,
Yeah.
we're dinosaurs. And so I think that like Hot Wheels, I think especially Mattel dealing with bringing back an old licensing He-Man, and then taking that license and then merging it or crossing it over with other license, but yet keeping the same mold. I honestly think what I'll see happening is that companies will start having molds that they can do like they did back in the 80s, mass market it. I think that's the reason why Super 7 will do really well with G.I. Joe, because they're not having to really create
They're going to
the
have
wheel.
to change their production plants, though. They do everything out of China, which is
Mm,
why their figures are so expensive. Um, if they don't move to like Vietnam or India or somewhere else, the tariff hits and the cost of those figures are going to they're going to price themselves out.
yes.
You know,
Yeah, I agree
because
because I did.
the only reason I don't do Super 7 is I don't believe the price is worth what they're charging. Like I
No, no.
can't.
It definitely it's definitely not when you get to, like I said, the Silver Hulks or the Thundercats.
Not at
It's
all.
not. I got Tarn back there because I have every Tarn that's come out. I've gotten all of them, and I got that Tarn, and I was like, this is a piece of crap robot. I
Yeah.
mean, it was loose. You couldn't control it or anything. But in a crossover, and this is where I want to come to the end, coming to winding down the show. If you had the ability to create a crossover, because if you don't already know, you'll hear it here first. Marvel and DC are doing a new crossover, and it's going to be a whole new comic book line where the two universes merge, like they did back in the late '90s when they had their crossover in
Yeah.
the JLA and stuff like that. Well, Disney and Warner Brothers have come to agreement. They're going to have a crossover, and in doing so, the the talk says who's going to be allowed to do those figures. But that's hypothetical at the moment. But it is Marvel DC doing another crossover. But if you had the opportunity to have a toy line and a comic book or cartoon, what would be your dream crossover? Harold, I'm gonna let you go first since you've been quiet tonight, my man.
If I had the opportunity to do a toy line crossover,
Yes.
uh, that's a tough call.
Let me come back to you. You want to think about it?
Uh, Probably.
All right. What do you think,
Um,
Billy?
for me, it's a no-brainer. It's my two loves, and that would be a Maximum Overdrive Transformers crossover. And you can kind of retell the story in a sense of maybe the aliens that are taking over were, the Decepticons trying to take over Earth, and they've, taken over these cars, and it's just maybe a little more primitive tale of Transformers. But I just think it'd be so freaking cool to see like Megatron as the Happy Toys truck, and you know things like that, like the ice cream truck that chases the kid, like all those things as Transformers would be so friggin' cool, you know. So a nice horror, and me. That's me. That's my
And if
crossover.
you've never seen that movie, you can actually watch it on
Yep.
Tubi right now and Freebie. It's
Yep.
actually got them on there. And the reason
I
why
think it's
Billy
on
likes it
Prime
so
right
much.
now too, without commercials. Just
Oh, is it?
out there. Yeah.
So, and the reason why Billy likes it so much is that you got the head on a big old semi truck that is his favorite character,
Green
the Green
Goblin.
Goblin.
Yeah, baby.
And
And my favorite band, AC/DC.
yeah,
And trucks. Like it's the perfect movie. And the
it's
main
like,
character's name is Billy. Like we're done. It's
yeah.
over. It's best movie ever made, cinematic masterpiece. You know.
Billy as a kid was going,
I was in kindergarten watching that. It is I loved it then, love it now. You know.
yes. Oh,
So
man.
so anyway, yeah, Harold, what would you cross into, bud?
Yeah.
Uh, let's see.
You,
That
okay,
is
I was going to say,
If that's tough, if you want to think,
if
then Derek, man, it's your turn, bud.
all right, I'll take over. If I was going to do a crossover, and it would be something that I've thought about for a short while, and it would definitely be taking the idea of Transformers, but also another of my favorite loves is Aliens, and what you would do if you had the aliens showed up on Cybertron, or the actual Autobots crash land on a planet that their whole purpose was to try and keep the Optimus Prime his motivations, and all sentient beings have a right to exist. But put it to the test of which sentient life form has the right to exist. The one that's coming in and invading and killing off the innocent people that can barely protect themselves, or would you have to find that fine line right down below? I would always like to see how they would be able to deal with the aliens and that conundrum as an Autobot. How would
So
he be able to handle that? And what would they actually transform into to protect themselves from the
if I
onslaught?
was going to do that crossover, which I love that idea there. Kudos, that is awesome. I would just like to see, it's almost inevitable that the Autobots would have to team up with the Colonial Marines and be like the Sulaco and the drop ship, and the power loader. Like, it'd be almost more of like an army building line of multiple Autobots have become power loaders to work with the humans. So I think that'd be so badass. Soundwave as the drop ship, like
Yes,
it'd just be really cool. That four-wheeler that they had. I mean, it'd be awesome to see that. Prime
that
as
would,
the APC. I think that'd be
yes,
so. It'd be a wonderful crossover. You don't even have to worry about you know, you could even have it where the Predacons are the bad guys instead of the Decepticons, and they take forms of different xenomorphs, and you don't know if
Xenomorphs,
the
yes.
alien is actually a transformer or not. You know,
Yeah.
like it's pretty rad. I think it's a really good concept that could make a fantastic comic book.
Yeah, that's something I've always, as a kid,
Now,
you know,
looking
when
at
you
your
get
shirt, I thought you were going to say Care Bears and My Little Ponies and just like Care Little Ponies. But, you know,
I can't, I was going through this slide of a crossover of My Little Pony that was Optimus Prime pony, Optimus Pony, and my
I
wife
think
actually
I've
has the
actually
toy.
seen that.
It's somewhere in the house. My wife has it. She's got
Yeah.
that, the Ghostbusters, and the I can't remember what the other one was, but there was yeah. But yeah, that's always been because as a kid, I remember getting the alien toys, and
The
you
Kenner
know,
Alien toys were amazing. Let's just put
yes,
that there. They could
and
reissue
yeah, the
that line, and
bull,
I'd buy every one of them.
everyone, and from the bull to the snake and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
I could go on, and I've always when I had my GI Joes, my Transformers, and my aliens, and that was my world as a kid that I put together.
Same exact world, brother. I
Yeah,
would
and I
cut.
was
You know, the best thing was is the GI Joes were O-ring figures when we were growing up. So
yes,
I would cut the O-ring on certain Joes, and I'd use like
yes,
Play-Doh to have their guts
hanging
pouring
out.
out. You know, and we have crazy cicadas here, and you know, I would take the cicada shells and
Yeah.
set them up as different types of xenomorph because
Oh,
you could
that's cool.
they'd hold on to things, but you could also break them into pieces because they were just the shells. So you could have like the explosions, and you could have, you know, maybe shot up ones. And if you used the creepy crawler goop, it looked like the acid blood. I was nuts as a kid though.
Oh
So
my gosh. Yeah, we were bad. We were bad too. We also used to set up fireworks so that we would have the fireworks would be set up and have gasoline that would run, and so you would light it, and that
yep.
would be our explosions.
So hey
You
man,
know.
I still make, you know, I make the dioramas still to this day that I used to make as a kid. And like fireworks, I would use those to get the real blast effect on certain
Yeah.
dioramas. You know, just
Wow.
nothing bigger than like an M20. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
nothing too bad. And then yeah, I mean, you're bringing me right back, which is great.
Oh yeah. That was my ultimate crossover. That's what I would love to see
Yeah,
a
I'm about to draw
crossover.
some up on Monday. I think I'm going to draw up some crossover designs. You know, see what
Oh.
I come up with.
Oh, please. And oh God, yeah. Share. That would be
As long as it
yes.
depends on how nuts work is, but you know,
Yeah.
I'll work on it this week. If we get a lot of rain and we have a slow day, I'm gonna try to do a couple. You know, like
Yeah.
imagine Fort Max is the Sulaco, and you see the Sulaco coming laying down, and you're just like,
Oh yeah.
it'd be so cool. Or Metroplex, either or any of the city bots
Oh
is
yeah.
just,
Any of the city bots. Yeah.
you know, and then
Oh yeah.
you know, the Alien King, like because the comics had the Alien King design, the Dark Horse comic
Yes.
in
Yep.
Rogue, I think it was, and it
Yeah.
was so cool. Um, you know, I'd love to see the Alien King end up really being like a Predacon leader in disguise. You
Oh, that
know,
would be.
it'd be
I love
just
the idea of the Predacons. That was that. Yeah. That. Oh, that's a great. I didn't take that side of the Beast Wars type thing and Predacons, but yeah, because I was thinking because I didn't have a uh but yeah, the robots, the trucks. I always could imagine that it was Optimus that Ripley's like grinding the
yeah, you can
stuff
see it.
down. And Optimus saying, "Please pull back a little bit. Please settle
Yeah.
down, Ripley. All is well." The Matrix, we had two all are one. That yeah. As a kid, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. That's what it was for me as a kid. I would love that. Love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely love it. And what
you know,
about you, Harold? Did you finally think of something in the
Well,
vast yonder of the world?
well, I mean, mostly, I mean, all my favorite monsters have pretty much all already had crossovers with just about everything. Uh, but even though this one's more of a video game character, it'd be interesting to see how He-Man would stack up to the Dragonborn from Skyrim.
That'd be
Oh,
fun.
that would be
That'd be
fun.
fun.
Yeah, because you got the wizards and you got
It
oh,
works. The universes could totally merge, and it would work.
it would.
And I'd actually kind of like that as a game. That'd be kind of fun to, that'd be
Had the
kind of
big
fun.
open world and you'd be on the back of a battle cat.
Yeah,
That's
it'd be
yeah.
really fun. I like that,
See
Harold.
that.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I like that. Well, as our childhood dreams and things that we were thinking about from our childhood, as we were winding down, I want to say, guys, thank y'all so much for helping me tonight with this
Yeah.
episode.
I loved it. I think it's a great topic, my friend.
I
I might
appreciate
steal
it.
it, to be honest.
Go right ahead, please do. I mean, you know what I would love if you did. I'd love to have Jimmy's take on
Oh, well, I would have you
because
on the show, so you'd get Jimmy's
oh
take live. I wouldn't take your idea and not use you,
oh. But yeah, because especially with him so much with Voltron and stuff, that would I would like to know what he would like that.
Yeah, I'll
But yeah,
talk
I
to him
want to say
after this
thank y'all.
week's.
As we're coming to a close, I do want y'all to share where people can find you. Harold, since you have been the quiet mute for tonight, I am going to let you be the one to share where people can find you and what your next big event you're planning to go to. Or if you don't have anything planned, you don't have to share it. You say, "Hey, Derek's crazy. You don't know what he's talking about. I don't have anything."
You know,
You
I
can say,
never say
It's
that, Derek.
Lunatic. I don't know who the heck he is. This bald headed freak threatened me with all this photos that I sent him pics, but we won't say what kind they are. No, go ahead, Harold. What do you got?
You can catch me on my channel, youtube.com/user/vampire cowboy 1. Also, I'm on TikTok, harold.brit. And as far as my next event, uh, other than the Mother's Day show for the Lumberton Con and maybe a mission trip, I don't have any close by future plans other than those.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's right.
Just
You might
subscribe,
be
bud.
seeing my bald headed self at the Mother's Day show. I might try, make my way there. All right, so
Oh, I just
Billy,
subscribed to Harold. I found him on
oh, did you find it
YouTube.
good? I was going to say
Yeah.
something.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Me, I'm just Billy the Kid's Toy Review channel, on YouTube. Simple, effective. Had to change it because, dirty words
Shit's
don't
not
get
a
to be
good word
shared.
on YouTube.
I
Oh,
can't curse anymore. It is
Hey,
what it is. But yeah, every Sunday I do a show called The Forge Live. I've had autocorrect on a few times. You saved my butt when Jimmy G was away, which was always, majorly appreciated. And that's it. Sundays, and then I post random reviews. I do not have a set schedule. I'm not one of those people. They just come as I get them.
you don't do like hour-long reviews where you're
That I had to
sitting
break
there.
up through the course of a day. Your hour-long review took me 10 hours, I think. But no, because I wanted to be able to pay attention. So if I was not doing something, it was all right, let me watch Derek's review. Then I had to do something. So I didn't want to have it as just background noise. When I watch a review, I want to see what that person really has to say. I'm not one of those people that leaves a review on as a background noise. And it wouldn't
I'm
be
not.
respectful. Like, that's just how
Yeah,
I look at it.
I'm that way too. And Nikki was like, "Wow, I had a whole hour of no profanity till you hit the button and you stopped recording. Then all of a sudden, I knew you were done. There was like a scream.
Yeah.
It would be crazy. You could probably see me sweating on that review, but that's what I want to do. But yes, please check out both their channels. Please, also check out the Forge. Those guys are great. And with that, I think that is it. That's it. I think
I'm
that's the
good,
wrap
man.
of the show. So I
awesome.
am now going to do the awkward, just staring at you in your beautiful eyes.